Now, Kenyans want to stage a protest to occupy the Sidian Bank.
For months, Sidian Bank floated quietly beneath Kenya's political noise. A Tier 3 bank, small in size, modest in profile, until suddenly it wasn't.
The total deposits for Sidian Bank last year is 50 billion Kenya shillings, Honorable Speaker.
Because every whisper, every rumor, every accusation now points to one uncomfortable truth. Sidian Bank is no longer just a bank, it is a political fault line.
Wait a minute. Yes. We bought a bank, he bought a bank. That's where the money goes.
A symbol of a president accused of banking his power and maybe even your money.
Imagine mtu anaiba mpaka anabuy a local bank to be banking his own money.
And the country has finally reached a breaking point. Contracts are being cancelled. The bank is now being kicked out. If you love this kind of content, go ahead and like this video and subscribe. Now let's get to the video.
He bought a bank. That's where the money goes. Like local bank. Yeah, local bank. Which bank? I don't want to say the name. Do your research.
It began as a rumor, a joke, a political jab. Rigathi Gachagua revealed that President William Ruto bought Sidian Bank immediately after winning the election as a safe place to bank his loot. Few took it seriously until the patterns emerged, until the documents surfaced, until the money began flowing in one direction. That's when the whispers turned into questions.
Finally, Honorable Speaker, on this issue of management of health facilities, I was shocked last week to learn that the Nairobi County government has transferred the accounts for health facilities here from KCB, a bank that everybody knows has a big reputation and a solid history, to some small bank called Sidian Bank, Honorable Speaker.
The first red flag came from Nairobi County. A memo, abrupt, suspicious, unexplained, directing all county health facilities to abandon Cooperative Bank, a stable Tier 1 institution, and move to Sidian Bank. Hospitals that collected about 1.5 billion in a year were now being asked to deposit funds into a bank with a deposit base barely matching the county's own budget.
If you look at the money that we made from hospitals, if you look at the Auditor General's report on receipt of revenue for Nairobi, in the last financial year, we collected 1.3 billion shillings. The total deposits for Sidian Bank last year is 50 billion Kenya shillings, Honorable Speaker. I'm telling you.
As Senator Sifuna put it,
if you look at the budget of Nairobi, vis-a-vis the capitation of Sidian Bank, we ourselves as a county, if we were a bank, we would be bigger than Sidian Bank.
It was no longer a rumor. The worms were crawling out of the can.
So he had to create a housing levy so that the money is flowing. And this money has been put in Sidian Bank, a bank that he bought immediately we came into office.
Then came the revelation that changed everything. Cyprian Nyakundi dropped a thread alleging that Sidian Bank, recently approved to handle Social Health Authority (SHA) funds, was quietly exploding in profit. A 470 profit increase in just 9 months. Kenya shillings 1.4 billion in earnings. Government remittances up 134%. SHA deposits flooding in. Non-interest income from state securities skyrocketing. At the same time, accusations emerged. Ghost hospitals, fraudulent SHA payments, and arrests that were linked to health fund leaks. Kenyans asked the obvious question: why is a tiny Tier 3 bank suddenly receiving billions in taxpayer money? The answer led them straight to the president.
So there's a bank that has been bought to keep all this money in cash.
Yeah, that's where the money goes. And it's actually taking all businesses from Equity, from Cooperative Bank, from all other banks have lost money from government to this particular bank that the president bought through some process.
This is when the most damning threat surfaced. A post on X claimed that President William Ruto controls Sidian Bank through nominee companies, Wizpro Enterprises, Afram Limited, and offshore trusts in the British Virgin Islands, over 65% in direct control. Silent voting rights, campaign loans disguised as commercial facilities. Is all this confirmed? No. But is it plausible in Kenya's political ecosystem? Absolutely. And that's when, for the first time, Gachagua's old accusation didn't sound like spite. They sounded like truth was leaking through the cracks.
Sidian Bank is level 3, is Tier 3.
The central bank is clear. Tier 3 banks cannot hold government money. It is too risky, too small, too unstable. And yet, SHA remittances, housing levy money, government payments, county revenue, all were quietly being funneled into Sidian, against protocol, against wisdom, against ethics.
But He told central bank to allow Sidian to receive money from SHA and also money from housing. So that bank has grown, from a profit of 300 million in 1 year to 1.2 billion.
If Gachagua was right, Ruto didn't just buy a bank, he bought himself a funnel, a private money horse connected directly to public funds.
I have written to the governor to explain to me the rationale. He is quiet up to today, Honorable Speaker. I am going to give him some more time. If we don't get an explanation as the people of Nairobi.
So, when the Senate summoned Governor Sakaja, they expected answers. What they got were excuses.
There is no law that says bank with equity or with co-op or with cooperative. So long as you looked at the risk involved and the deal, a better deal to the county in terms of processing.
But when Sifuna and Onyonka pressed harder, they got nothing.
We should see the evidence. I doubt anybody sitting on that side banks with Sidian. I'll be very shocked.
Let's not personalize this question.
I'm just saying.
I don't know what grade the Senate has.
The governor dodged, avoided, danced around the truth until the entire proceeding collapsed in a storm of anger and disbelief.
This is not about Elgeyo Marakwet. This is about Nairobi. When your governor is here, you will take over.
We also live here. We also live in Nairobi.
She's not from
So you are not answerable to the
She's not from Elgeyo Marakwet.
Who do you answer?
The Senate had been treated with contempt, and that only confirmed one thing. This wasn't a financial decision. It was a political directive.
Okay, order first. Switch off your mic first, Professor. Please, with all due respect. Professor, please switch off your let's have some normalities.
Kenyans have had enough. They want contracts cancelled. They want county accounts moved back to safe banks. They want SHA funds rescued. They want central bank rules restored. And above all, they want their money out of the president's pocket.
For those who have been here, they know I hinted about that bank. And I even told you of Amulima MP wenye wanajifanya sahi wamekosana na Ruto, and he is the one who facilitated hiyo acquisition of that bank.
To them, Sidian is not just a bank, it is a symbol of a president who profits while the country bleeds.
Ile pesa yote inaibwa ya Wakenya, watoto wakosage vaccines, kukosage mpaka pesa za shule, zote zinapelekwa huko. It is very sad.
The question is no longer, is Sidian Bank corrupt? It is now, will the tone-deaf president finally listen to the people?
Imagine mtu anaiba mpaka anabuy a local bank to be banking his own money.
As Kenya grapples with economic hardship, ballooning taxes, and broken promises, one institution is quietly getting richer, faster, stronger, untouchable. That is Sidian Bank, the president's alleged bank.
All government money now for prostitutes, state corporations, they are kept in that particular bank, the president bought.
The taxpayers' money, the country's outrage. And until an action is taken, this controversy may become the biggest financial scandal of William Ruto's presidency.
Now, this is not rumors or whatever. Bomet County and Sia County have partnered with Sidian Bank to manage their payment system. My friend, reports from intelligence sources suggest that a significant number of general public orders and payment within Kenyan government are now being processed through Sidian Bank.
Secrets are coming out thick and fast. Listen to this. A section of Kenyans have found out, they have established that allegedly there is a bank called the Sidian Bank. That Sidian Bank is responsible for this endless plundering of money through SHA. So state officials are using this bank to come and withdraw allegedly large sums of money in stacks. Now, Kenyans want to stage a protest to occupy the Sidian Bank.
This is how mafias steal. Let me tell you guys. About 2 weeks ago, the former Attorney General of Uganda invested $8 million into Sidian Bank in Kenya. He became the largest shareholder, holding 14% of the bank shares. Katimulirize, listen carefully. This is where you catch them. Then, about 3 days ago, the mayor of Nairobi ordered for all hospital transactions for government to move from Cooperative Bank to Sidian Bank. But guys, can the modern thieves at least try to hide? Because you're putting me in danger by discovering your nonsense. What the hell? Yeah, so, but today I want to tell you guys, if you want to know how bad corruption gets, maybe you should read about what happened in Greece. But briefly, Greece guys used to manipulate their financial statements because they wanted to get into what? Into the Eurozone. You know, want to be part of the European Union. They manipulated their financial statements. They put out a lot of bonds for people to buy and lend money to the government. And I was asking, what's the problem with so many people investing into the government? And then they told me it increases our domestic debt and our foreign debt. And then I asked, what's the problem with what? The government borrowing. Because if the government is going to borrow, it's going to use the money right and generate more what? More revenue and be able to pay back its what? Its investors. And then they told me the problem is the government never uses the money right. So that's exactly what happened in Greece. In Greece, the government had so much debt that it had grown by, was it 100 and something beyond their GDP, bro, to the point that they couldn't pay back the people who had invested. So that is where the problem comes in, because then if the government doesn't have money to pay back its bond, investors, the whole thing is going to crumble. And those guys, they needed saving, literally. European Union and IMF gave them 240 billion euros to, wake up. They had to literally refinance most of those bonds, and people who had already invested, they had to give them a haircut is what they called it, so that they get other bonds into the government and give them a longer time to pay back. That is what will happen in Africa, in East Africa, in Kenya and Uganda, when thieves are doing this.
Subscribe.